IVM.
Hello everyone. We have come to the second season of the Empowering series with me, Zarina Poonawalla. And this time we thought, why not go a step further with the troubleshooting issues? So, nothing comes in the way of loving your job. Let's talk today about watching your anger. I believe anger is that little vessel of acid which really dissolves you from inside. So let's see how we can get rid of this particular problem, because I believe all of us have this issue at work. If not for ourselves, for others around us. We need to solve this. I have this really special 7 cheat codes actually, which will help you to solve this problem. So let's go through them one after the other. What do you do when you get angry at work? For instance, if your boss has given you some work to do and you haven't completed that work, you haven't finished your job, and your boss fires you in public, what do you do? What do you do if you're asked to do something unethical or immoral? What do you also do if there is something that you should be given credit for, but somebody else at work has been given credit for? So when such issues happen, we get extremely angry and frustrated. The first thing to do when you're angry, the first cheat code rather, is to take a deep breath, nice and slow, and allow yourself the time to relax. Tell yourself that it's okay to be angry. What's the second thing you do? The second little cheat code is just walk away. Walk away without any reaction. Go away till you settle down, till you feel better about yourself, and come back. The third cheat code is very easy and also very difficult. Ask yourself if you really have a reason to be angry. Sometimes it's just your mood. Sometimes it's just the way you are by personality. So it's important to really ask yourself, do you really have a reason to be that angry? The fourth one, stay calm. Tell yourself a few things. Say nice, positive things to yourself. Tell yourself what are the things that you have gratitude for. Things that you are grateful for. Maybe about 3. Maybe about think of one thing that makes you happy in the day. Tell yourself it's okay, Zarina. It's okay. You can be angry. Let's be calm, Zarina. Stay calm. And if none of this works, use the classic, this too shall pass. Moving on, take the 5th cheat code. I think anger dwells right inside us, and a very important thing one needs to remember is that we need to release anger. The only way to vent it out is to probably go and just tear paper. Tear something, rip it apart, feel better, vent it out. Or use a stress ball. Or probably just go and scream somewhere on the rooftop. But don't remove it on people. Don't remove it on others, because you may not realize you're harming them, you're hurting them. So you neither must harm yourself nor others. What you do is just go away, go to the shredder probably, rip some paper apart, and feel better about yourselves. Let's move on to the 6th cheat code. It's extremely important for us to realize that we need to go out there and have a physical activity which helps us to release our anger. That could be any form of exercise, it could be yoga, it could also be gardening, or simply listening to music. Do anything that takes you away and diverts you from your anger in that very moment. And finally, let's come to the 7th and the last cheat code. Well, we often help ourselves by responding. Most of the times we react in situations. And when do we react? When somebody blames us, when we're defending ourselves. So instead of reacting, you will learn how to respond. What you need to do when you're angry is walk away, take those few deep breaths, relax, think, and come back and respond. Never ever react, because that only makes you more vulnerable. So keep in mind, guys, these 7 cheat codes are going to take you a long way at your workplace. And if none of these work out, you need to look deeper inside yourselves. All right. Today we have an extremely special guest with us. I have Satyajit Roy with me.
Hi, Zarina.
Hi, Satya. I want to tell everybody, all my listeners, that Satya and me have been friends for a very, very long time. We go back way since school.
Since school.
Yes. And in recent times, we've also associated with each other and worked together
Yeah.
as mentor, coach,
Yeah.
entrepreneur, etc. Satya, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, sure. I'm the founder and CEO of EGK Foods,
Lovely.
India's largest packaged fried onion company.
That's excellent. And Satya, I also know that you are called the Onion Knight.
Yes, because of my work in the onion field and trying to work with farmers to solve the onion issue that exists.
That's amazing.
People call me the Onion Knight
That's
in food
amazing.
circles, yeah.
And it's also coming from the Game of Thrones. It's also
A
coming
Game
from
of
the
Thrones
series.
obsession, yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Great, Satya. So today we're going to have a little bit of a session professionally, Satya. It's
Awesome.
going to be on the show. We'll have a tete-a-tete about topic we've talked about. It's watching your anger.
Awesome.
And I think you heard a couple of the points.
Yeah, I heard
So
them.
what is it that you have to say about it?
So let me just say, running a company leads to a lot of anger. I think
Totally
any
does.
startup founder will agree with me when I say this.
Absolutely.
So being the boss of a startup, there are many reasons in the day to get angry. And the 7 points that you mentioned earlier, I think I agree with almost all of them.
Almost.
You know, almost all of them. I mean, I agree with all of them,
Right.
but I don't think I follow all 7 points religiously. I think
Right.
I could handle my anger better. But yeah. So as you were saying, one thing I really struggled with, one of the points you mentioned was to be calm or to tell yourself something good, right? But
When you're really, really
when you're
angry.
really, really raging.
Yeah.
And that's really challenging. Like,
That is.
I can tell you that it's difficult to control your rage and then respond in a manner that is, beneficial.
Right.
So what I have found in my experience is that whenever I have responded in reacted, you said reacted, right?
Right.
So whenever
When
I
you've
have
reacted and not responded, you mean. Okay.
I have found that it has been detrimental to such a large extent that mostly what happens is you'll end up alienating the person
Right.
who's joined your organization. Sometimes
that's
you can
right.
go so far in your
Yes,
anger and say
yes.
things that you don't really mean. Like, I'm sure we've all been there at some
We
point,
have,
right?
we have. I'm guessing, yes.
So it's really challenging, and these points that you said, I think I need to myself start following all of them religiously one by one.
Okay, so let's talk about this particular
Sure,
point
sure.
that you have an issue with.
Yeah,
You're talking
yeah.
about, I think that is something everybody's suffering with.
Correct.
Or everybody experiences at least once,
Correct.
wherein they're extremely raging or angry or frustrated, or they just want to vent.
Correct.
And
correct.
that moment where you're venting out, you're so impulsive, there is no time to think.
Yeah.
So where is the time to, take that deep breath and calm down? And it's all nicer put on paper.
But it's very
said,
challenging to
yes,
execute, right?
I agree. And so it's actually important that one realizes that there is something called as self-control when
Yeah.
it comes to anger.
Yeah.
None of this is impossible to do. Important thing is, Satya, that when one is angry, we have already told ourselves as an excuse that we cannot control our anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever we do is okay.
Yeah.
It's excused by the fact that we are angry. Now, in that very moment, the one thing that really matters is your willpower and your self-control.
Yeah.
So it's not really that you will always stay calm, but maybe, say, twice out of 10 times, if you can be calm, it's a good start.
I definitely agree with that.
Right?
The other thing that you said,
Yeah.
you should go and vent your anger out. I have my own personal hack for that, actually.
What is that?
So when I'm really, really frustrated or angry with someone, you said you should tear paper or,
Yes.
go and scream. What I do is I write down 10 reasons why I'm really frustrated with this person.
Oh, amazing.
I write it down and then I burn that paper.
Oh, wow.
I just burn it because I'm
That is
letting that
aggressive.
anger go when I have come to terms with the fact that I can't make any changes in this situation.
Right.
I just let the anger go because
That's-
I've found that festering anger leads to even worse things. If you
It
let
does.
anger fester inside you for a long time,
Anger
it just,
is for stupidity,
Yes,
honestly.
yes.
People who don't want to be stupid,
Yeah.
they won't be angry.
Yeah,
Anger
yeah.
is a nice excuse for people who want to just be stupid.
Yeah.
And
in my experience,
yeah.
anger has always led to worse situations. It's never made things better. It's
Yeah.
made things much worse.
Absolutely.
So now when I try not to react, but
Right.
it's not always possible. But do give it my best
No,
shot.
I understand that when you're running a company and you've got 100 employees, or you've probably got vendors to deal with,
Yeah,
logistics
yeah,
and
yeah.
a lot of other things, you have sleepless nights.
Oh, yeah.
And I think anger also sometimes comes from the fact that we're not well rested.
Sure.
So
sure.
the mind really is very, very active. It's disturbed sometimes. And I think that is another reason why anger comes in so quickly.
Sure.
So we don't really think of why we are being angry.
Sure.
So do you think of why you get angry? I mean, from the reasons that you have, are all the reasons valid? That's my question.
Sure. Sometimes there is displaced anger. There's
Right.
my anger on someone else for something else comes out on the wrong person.
Right.
That does happen.
Most often.
Not
with
most
a lot,
often.
With a lot of people, not with you. Not you.
But yeah, it does happen, and I have tried to question myself. I even question myself, is this worth getting angry over?
Right.
Like, just take a second.
And you still get angry?
I still do, but it's much lesser now than it was.
That's
maybe.
amazing.
I've learned being a startup founder that there are things that you should get angry about, and there are things that you should not get angry about.
Right. Now, that's from the boss's point of view.
Sure.
Let's look at it from an employee's perspective,
Sure.
considering we're talking about loving your job and,
Yeah.
watching your anger at work.
Yeah.
So obviously, as a boss, you sometimes might even have the leeway to be angry.
Sure.
And no one will hold your collar and ask you questions. But what about the employees?
Yes.
So what happens when you're dealing with them and somebody's probably slightly more egoistic
Sure,
to accept a mistake,
Yeah.
or doesn't like criticism?
I've dealt with this a lot, actually.
Right?
Like,
So-
when you're the boss, you also have to become sort of the mediator between
Right.
two warring employees or two employees who don't get along, right?
Absolutely.
So I've learned diplomacy the hard way, where in this situation, I'm the one diffusing the situation completely.
Okay.
Where I am the person being the calm person, and I can't. If I want these people in my organization, usually there are reasons that flare up and people get angry, but it's not the end of the world. You can
Right.
get over it and still work together. So as the boss, I find that it's good to sometimes intervene, have a word,
Yes, it's
say
important.
what can go in the office, what cannot go. And
I think as a boss,
Yeah.
one of the things I usually tell people in my sessions, one-on-ones, the CEOs or the entrepreneurs specifically, is that you need to keep in mind that your employees can get angry. They can
Yeah.
have issues,
Yeah.
and obviously those issues aren't healthy for your workplace.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? It is important that as a boss, you do take some effort in having workshops or a play
Sure.
area,
Sure.
or maybe like a music station,
Sure.
or just simply having stress balls all over the place,
Yeah.
or shredders all over the place, that if you're angry, go there, rip a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You can't keep burning things like you do.
I mean, it's just
Because
a piece of paper that
yeah,
I burn.
Yeah, but you can't encourage everybody to do that, because, that may not be very, very convenient. So you can just ask them to. So basically
But
what
I
I'm
fry
saying is-
onions, right? So I'm used to burning stuff.
You're used to
Like,
burning
frying
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, and you take away tears as well.
That's true.
So that's amazing. So I think as bosses, it's maybe a responsibility that we look into this area and understand that this can be a sensitive issue for employees and they need to be dealt with. So what do you think you can do differently at your workplace or for your employees?
I think that, so we have a very small initiative at our office where we have a small library.
Lovely.
We have books on psychology, we have books on inspiration, motivation, whatever you want. It's a non-fiction library. So people can take the time out and read a book
Okay.
during office hours. Like, that's a small stress buster that we do have in our office. So I believe that an open environment of transparent communication, it's usually there's a boss and employee divide.
Correct.
But the thing is that ideally we are all working towards the same purpose. I may be leading the company, but we all have the similar purpose.
the
That's why
vision
we're all
is the
working
same.
here, right?
Right. So the open library works as a good
A good stress buster.
A
But I
stress
also feel
buster?
that having an open
space
space
maybe?
where you can communicate your problems,
Right.
it helps. So as a boss, I also need to know that, hey, this person may be going through a bad time. So
Right.
maybe
So like an open door policy.
an open door
for,
policy to
your-
discuss
Right.
discuss issues if it's
Right.
affecting your work. I think that is very important to
Right.
have.
Because
in an
anger
organization.
at workplace, now a person is spending most of their time at work.
Yeah.
You are going home, you probably have weekends to hang out with friends and family.
Yeah.
The rest of the time you want to sleep.
Correct.
You don't have any other life then.
Yeah.
So what do? You're spending most of your time at your workplace, and if that place makes you angry or
Yeah.
you kind of
Yeah.
are so
Bogged down with
and
frustrations.
uncomfortable,
Yeah.
it really needs to be a place where you look forward to going every time. And
Sure.
that's why we're focusing on loving your job, you know.
Sure.
And obviously, we see anger as one of these major issues. One last little thing I want to ask you. Do you remember me saying that you should have some kind of an activity?
Yes,
Yeah?
definitely.
So what is
Definitely.
your favorite activity when you are angry?
When I'm angry.
Yeah. Or maybe even just otherwise, come on.
My favorite activity is, I guess,
Do you exercise?
I don't right now, but I will be exercising soon. Now that
Now that you've come here
I've
for this.
got the tips.
Now
how
that
to
you
be
got the
less
tips.
angry.
All right.
Yeah. But I do go for runs on Seaface, so
That's lovely.
that helps put out a little of the frustration.
I'm guessing so. You
Yeah.
know, venting out means sweating out.
Yeah.
I think if you can do that,
Yeah.
you're pretty successful. But then again, you know, this question arises that at your workplace, you can't go out for a jog
Sure.
and come back
But you
all
can
sweaty.
go before, right?
Yeah, but when you're angry then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So maybe having a little treadmill or a song booth at your workplace.
A karaoke machine.
Oh wow, that's an amazing
Yeah,
idea.
why not?
So I'm going to suggest to everybody I know, especially startups and companies, that you must have a song booth.
Yeah.
Karaoke
machine.
a karaoke
Yeah,
machine,
yeah.
and everybody can sing and dance and jump along.
But
and
post
feel
office
better.
hours,
Post office hours. So we can do that. I'm guessing. But nonetheless, as long as it's being done,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're looking and considering and being considerate towards our employees, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Definitely.
So that's amazing, Satyajit. Thank you so much for being on my show, and
Thank you for having me
Absolutely.
and for sharing these tips. I'm going to try and inculcate all of them.
Please do, and please tell me how it
Yeah,
goes.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, and it was amazing having you and sharing your insights on anger and your employees and how you're running your business. So
Sure.
fantastic.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon again, I'm pretty sure. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to reach out to me, I am Zarina Poonawalla on Twitter and at Zarina Poonawalla on Instagram.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Screwella, and you've been listening to my podcast and the multiple chapters of my book, Dream With Your Eyes Open. And I think to that, I've had good chats here. And I think chapter 13, my book, is all about Q&As, and I'm sure there are more Q&As. Happy to answer them, so send them in, and happy to have a dialogue with you on that.
So if you'd like to ask Ronnie a question, send it to us at dreaming@ivmpodcast.com. If selected, we'll read out your question on the last episode and have Ronnie answer it. You can also send a question to us on social media at IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.